What's going on, YouTube? So I've been hearing a lot about this underground racing league. Alleged underground racing league that 3D Bot Maker has going on at Race Mountain Speedway. And I started thinking, if there was such a racing league, there definitely isn't, but if there was, I might want to get in on that action and maybe make a car or two to maybe go down Race Mountain Speedway at some alleged time. I had this Maisto Rosewood laying around, and I thought it'd be a good canvas to create my custom car for the Race Mountain Speedway. So let's take a look. This was originally a key car. It's got a spot in the back where you put the key in, you press the trigger, and it had a spring inside, was spring loaded, and it goes shooting down the road or whatever you have it. So that's something I had to deal with, and it actually has 3 rivets that I had to unscrew. The car is actually in pretty decent shape. It's got some flea bites and some other stuff. You can see where the front end, back end are dinged up a little bit, but nothing little paint and primer can't take care of. I actually do like the paint job on this, but I think I have an idea of a nicer paint job. So not much to it on the inside, just a windshield, the frame, and the wheels. Here it is, all taken apart. Not much to it at all. I do like the engine blower, whatever that is, sticking out of the hood. That's a cool little effect. So I stripped it down with my citrus stripper and actually cleaned up pretty good. There's a little few areas where you can see some of the red in the door frame and whatnot, but it did a good job, and the body was actually in very good shape. If you look real closely, you can see a few imperfections in the body. I sanded it, but I didn't spend too long trying to get it perfect. This is ultimately going to be a track car, and it's going to be getting beat up going down the track. So here's the first coat of primer. Decided to use a white primer as I was going to use the color yellow. I figured the white would make the yellow a bit brighter. This is just a normal Krylon primer. Went on pretty smooth and even, and it covered up a lot of the imperfections in the body. Here is the first coat of yellow. This is a Krylon Color Masters yellow. I actually realized if I put on a thicker coat, the paint comes out a lot smoother than if you try and put a lot of little coats. So it actually came out very, very nice. A little bit of wet sanding to do, and then once it dried and cured for a couple days, I painted the black on there, trying to go with a 2-tone color scheme, and it actually came out pretty well. A few imperfections where the tape didn't quite cover the area I wanted it to, but nothing too major. For the bumper, I just used a chrome paint pen, and for the rear taillights, I just used a red paint pen. I got a little sloppy with the red paint pen, but I was able to eventually clean it up a little bit. So after painting, I applied 2 coats of the Testors clear. I put the engine back in, and I put the black windows in it just to see how it looked. I thought the windows offset the yellow pretty nicely, and overall, pretty happy with the way it turned out initially. I've never tried to customize one of these cars before, and it was going very well. The casting is, I think, ideal for customizing, as it's got a lot of flat edges on it and it takes the paint very well. And just when everything's going right, that's when everything goes wrong. So I tried to do something I normally don't do, which was throw the car in the oven for a little bit to help cure the paint. Well, when I did that, I left the windshield, the plastic windshield, in the car, and as you see, it got a little melted. Fortunately, I remembered in time and I was able to take it out before the whole car got ruined. But it messed it up enough. But I decided to just go with it. Gives it a little bit of character, I think. The oven also cracked the clear coat, so I had to apply a few more layers of clear coat, use a little bit of rubbing compound, and smooth it out a little bit more. And ultimately, it ended up turning out okay, but not as good as when I first initially had it. Here I am putting the engine back in. I just put some glue on the post that goes down in there, and hopefully that holds and it doesn't go flying when it's going down Race Mountain Speedway. Or, I mean, a totally different track that's not Race Mountain Speedway, because there's no underground racing going on at Race Mountain Speedway. Not at all. So I had a few options when I was thinking about adding some weight to this car. I ultimately decided to go with modeling clay, as I heard that would be a good way of adding some weight to a car. This is my first time using the stuff. It works pretty well. You can get it in places that you can't get normal weights and whatnot. But if you're going to use it, I would recommend using it before the car is painted, because it can make a huge mess. And you don't want to mess up that paint job that you spent 2 hours doing. So my original plan was to do a wheel swap, maybe put some faster than evers on there, but there were some clearance issues with kind of the way the wheels sit in the car. They're kind of inside the car and within the wheel wells, and the Hot Wheel tires are actually wider than these, and there would have been several modifications I would have had to have done to get the new wheels in there. So I decided to use the original wheels. I polished the axles and added some graphite, and they actually started rolling pretty well. One thing too with the modeling clay, you got to make sure it doesn't interfere with the wheels rolling. So I had to chip away at that until there was enough room to clear the tires. And here it is all put together. I think the two-tone paint job turned out pretty well. I like the black and yellow combination. And the tires, I was actually gonna paint the tires yellow, the chrome parts yellow, to match the paint, but I think it actually matches the engine, and the kind of chrome on chrome look is pretty good. I think it works out pretty well. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Hopefully it's as fast as it looks, and we can be competitive going down some racetrack that may or may not be Race Mountain Speedway or something like that. I don't know. It's always fun working on these cars and learning new little tricks of the trade, especially on one that you've never done before. I think in the future, maybe get some cotton gloves so I don't leave my oily fingerprints all over the car. And I'd definitely like to learn how to do some airbrushing. I think that would help out with the paint job. I'm pleased with the way the car turned out, despite my mistakes, especially that oven mistake. But it's all a learning process, and I learned some stuff on this one that will help me on my next custom. And ultimately, my goal is to put out a good looking car that is fast on the track. Not quite sure how this will perform on the track, but hopefully we'll find out in a couple weeks. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you guys think. And get ready, 3D bot maker. You better let 2D know that the Rosewood's coming for Race Mountain Speedway. The Rosewood? I gotta come up with a better name than that. If you guys have any name suggestions too, let me know.
Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we will see this bad boy on the track pretty soon. I also have another car I'm working on for Race Mountain Speedway.
That car should be done soon, so look for that video in a week or so. And again, thank you guys for watching.